The Galaxy S24 is the most boring phone that you can buy. Now, when we look at the word or concept of boring, many people will subconsciously think of other words or feelings with it, such as dull, uninteresting, repetitive, or just a lack of excitement. And while this may be true, the word boring, just like the word discipline, is a really great word that often gets misunderstood. See, when a lot of people think about discipline, back in the day when your parents would whoop you for whatever reason, or they would ground you for an X amount of time. But what if I told you that the word discipline doesn't mean that at all? Discipline means that you're able to carefully control the way that you work, live, or behave, especially to achieve a goal. And now you see how that same word went from a negative perspective all the way to a positive one? Well, I think the same thing goes for the word boring. See, when I say that the Galaxy S24 is a boring phone, I kind of say it like a backhanded compliment. It will do a great job at performing every single thing that you need in a smartphone, but when compared to the previous Galaxies or any other phone in the market, it kind of does nothing to truly give you that wow factor, and it does have a hard time standing out. And the reason why I say that this is a good thing is because when it comes to technology as a whole, most of us don't need fancy gimmick features or hardware that we'll hardly ever use. We need a boring phone that can still do the basics while being able to consistently perform well, especially for a longer period of time. And if any of you guys are NBA basketball fans, superstar Hall of Fame legends like Kawhi Leonard and Tim Duncan were considered boring players, but that didn't really matter. They did their job well, and that's all anyone can really ask for. And that's why I wanted to go over why I truly believe that the Galaxy S24 being boring is kind of a good thing. But the real question is, how has boring held up for me over the past 10 months? Do I often think about switching phones? And most importantly, would I want anyone to indulge in the very boring yet reliable path that I've been on for the past 10 months? And also, if you guys enjoy my videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a ton, and I really appreciate you guys for reviewing this video. Now, I won't lie, I've kind of given boring a little bit too much credit. Again, it can also mean repetitive, dull, or just not interesting. And throughout my 10 months of using the Galaxy S24, its repetitiveness has also hindered its ability to be better, which is definitely one of the few things that I've hated about my Galaxy S24. I hate the fact that it has a 1080p resolution, especially when it's $800, not including tax. The Galaxy S24 Plus has finally gotten upgraded to 1440p, and for the regular S series, there hasn't been much improvement in terms of resolution for damn near a decade. I also really hate the fact that the Galaxy S24 has not seen an improvement when it comes to charging speeds. 25-watt charging on a flagship phone should have ended last year, but Samsung continued the boring route, and by doing that, it really leads me to question why am I paying $800 for the same phone as last year? And this also leads me to the final thing that I really hate about the Galaxy S24, which is the price. A boring phone that refuses to change should be going on sale as much as possible, which is why I personally believe that if you are interested in the Galaxy S24, the only time that I would recommend buying it is when it's around that $600 price range. But that's pretty much all my complaints about the Galaxy S24. During my 10-month stretch with it, I've gotten nothing but consistency on a great level. The battery life was easily this phone's greatest asset. I didn't really use any power saving features, but was still able to get a full day of battery life. I had my 5G on, maintained middle to high brightness, and I used it very moderately throughout my day. I would average about 6 hours of screen time, and the juice was squeezed by moderate power heavy apps like Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, and Samsung Internet. The end of my day would usually look like 15 to 10%, so I can say that it consistently got the job done. Charging took place overnight, and I will often start my day around 6 a.m., but whenever I forgot to charge it and needed to plug it in during the day, it was noticeably slower than my other phones, which was definitely something that bothered me. And despite my want for a 1440p display, the 1080p was pretty average, but what helped it was being paired with a 120Hz display and a high brightness. As you can see right here, colorful videos and even the more bland looking videos got the job done. The display's aesthetics was also one of my favorite things that I enjoyed, from the slim bezels to the hole punch camera that allowed me to get the best view, all the way down to the very boxy frame that was secure and pleasing to hold. The glass is protected by Gorilla Glass Victus 2 that can survive drops up to 6 feet on hard surfaces like wood and up to 3 feet on concrete. For me personally, the boxy frame has always been easy to hold, so I hardly ever drop it, which is the reason why mine looks spotless. And speaking of spotless, the build on the Galaxy S24 is my favorite when compared to any other phone in 2024. from the beautiful yet sharp camera rings to the minimalistic curves, all the way down to the very nice and clicky buttons. Even in terms of practicality, I loved how the phone had this all-around matte finish that not only looked better, but was also less prone to fingerprints, which resulted in a cleaner look that was very easy to wipe down. The whole body gave me iPhone vibes, but with slimmer bezels, and it had better button placement than the Pixel, which is why I favor this one comparing the three. Something else that I do prefer when comparing the Galaxy S24 to the iPhone 16 or Pixel 9 is the power. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip is the best performing when paired with battery, cooling, and overall performance. I tried out one of my favorite mobile games, which is Call of Duty Mobile. I played it for a while, and not only did it take a little hit on my battery life, but this phone was at a great temperature and I maintained the same speeds when playing. Now, camera is one of the most essential parts of any smartphone experience, and the Galaxy S24 has made some significant improvements in this department. I compared the S24's photos with other top-tier smartphone cameras to demonstrate just how close they are in picture quality. And when comparing selfies, the Galaxy S24 and Pixel 9 Pro share similar image processing algorithms, which basically results in nearly identical color reproduction and vibrancy. In day-to-day photos, the S24 holds its ground surprisingly well, and while the iPhone 16 Pro Max may have a slight edge overall, the S24's image quality comes remarkably close in many situations, especially when paired with Samsung's robust camera software. And while the S24 performs okay in low light conditions, this is one area where it falls noticeably behind the top tier smartphones. Indoor shots don't quite match the quality. Something else that was okay was video performance. While capable of producing good quality footage in optimal conditions, the camera struggled with sudden lighting changes and stabilization, and this makes video recording on the S24 a little bit less impressive. So overall, I think it's safe to say that while the overall experience of the Galaxy S24 has been pretty boring, it was also filled with great consistency when it came to power, display, battery life, and everything else that I needed my phone to do. So if you're like me and you prefer a boring yet peaceful experience, I will 100% recommend the Galaxy S24. Peace.